Funsie podcast. I don't even know what that was.
Funsie.
It just gets more and more
moving to
brain rot as we
Charlotte.
go with these episodes, but that's okay.
Yep.
Guys, I'm back. But
Yes.
you may have noticed if you're watching, probably not if you're listening, but Josh is not here. So maybe you guys knew. Ben and I were down in Charlotte, Rock Hill area last week, and this week we just missed our boy. Josh is down that way currently. I believe he was. I don't know if he can. Anyways, he's down there. I'm not going to go say what I was going to say because I don't know if he's allowed to say that. But he's down there for the tour championships. Just barely missed him.
I'm
But
pretty sure
you got the two of us.
he did announce he's going to be flown out by Vessi on this podcast.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if that was just like a subtle thing that. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So shout out Vessi, I guess.
Shout out Vessi. Cool to be back. Nice to do the podcast. Ben, this is the most that I've seen you all year, and granted, that is both of our faults collectively, but just some busy boys.
I know. I saw Sajko a lot. It was nice to see that head glimmering in the sun, just like twinkling in my eyes.
Scalp just piercing every single cornea that walks by.
And it's so weird that like we both are down there and are friends, but we also both have our own things going on that were completely separate. It's just kind of like crazy to see kind of how that just works, like how we started this podcast. You were on another round and stuff like that, and now like you have all these obligations of filming and hanging out with those guys and stuff like that, so it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it feels cool to see. But yeah, I completely agree. It's like we didn't, like you said, it's not like we planned to go down there together, but we're both doing our own separate things that still brought us together anyways, which is cool. Even though we may live like 45 minutes away from each other, we still met at a similar location, like for disc golf, like down south.
And yeah, that was the coolest thing. Is I got to reconnect with so many people, like Jesse from Trash Panda came. It's so cool to see him, and Garrett, owner of Hooligan Disc. I haven't seen him since March, and we got to hang out and just talk, and so that was really refreshing to see my boy Garrett, the owner of Hooligan Disc, and Joseph, obviously, Avery, Luke. There's so many people that I caught up with, and a lot of people that I met down there, which was really awesome. I mean, I was just like. Mm-hmm. You probably saw me, Sajko. I was just out there, just like walking around the village 24/7, just talking to people and having my flyers out and trying to get say thank you to my past vendors, but trying to get some more vendors potentially. So it was all around really cool.
Yeah, that was the coolest part, and it all went by so fast, and I ended up being so busy that it was still nice to like say hello to people, but like you said, like. Seeing Garrett, I got to say hi, what's up, but really that was about the extent of it. I didn't get to like sit down with him and have like a cool conversation and catch up and just talk about whatever. I mean, if I wasn't like out there capturing footage, I was editing footage, and then when I'm not, like we were out like immediately, so it'd be like off doing whatever else. So it was very busy. So yeah, I didn't get to like play disc golf around there, but it was still incredible. Like I have so much footage on my phone, like an uncomfortable amount of Gannon Burr is taking up space on my phone right now.
That's so funny.
But it's exciting. I didn't know how big of a deal it was to get that media pass initially, honestly. I didn't realize.
I was about to say, you were literally behind in front of the cameras. Like I would always just be like watching live coverage, because that's my domain. So I actually got I was on staff thanks to Jonathan Poole and Chad Sullivan. Jonathan Poole owns USDGC, and Chad is like his right hand man for it. Mm-hmm. And I was on the staff just at the fan pavilion thing, and next to the fan pavilion was a giant screen of the coverage. Yeah. So I just saw Sajko, and then at times Joseph and Sajko. I think the last day you guys were just like right there behind, just like every frame was just you behind your phone, kind of just like crouching behind it.
Yeah, I mean, Chad is another one. where like I saw him at one point and he like patted me on the back because he saw me like what I was doing, and that was cool. But yeah, I've never gotten to have like a conversation with him or anything. He just like recognized who I was, and um,
Yeah,
yeah. So
Chad,
it's all been a
Chad's
blur,
a cool
man.
guy.
He seems like it, like, and that goes for so many other people. Yeah, like I said with Garrett and so on and so forth. But yeah, getting like the media thing, like that's why I was like, I told those guys from the beginning, meaning like the Another Round boys, I was like, I'm stoked to be here, but at the same time, you paid for me to come down, so like I'm ready to work, like put me to work, whatever I have to do. And ended up getting Another Round, ended up getting the top media clearance, whatever you want to call it, which was like the green media card, and yeah, just like flying in, I didn't even know what I was going to be doing for the event, and then found out that Jeff Panis, shout out to that man. I mean,
The
he
Wombat.
he gasses me up all the time, and he does not have to do that, and I appreciate it every single time.
He said you're a spirit animal.
that's that's amazing. That brings me joy to hear. He got us those passes, like Joseph and I, we got two of them. So I was like, if we're the only people aside from like the Pro Tour / Jomez, because it's like the same thing, and Innova that are allowed out here, I'm like, I gotta use this, man. Like no one has this. I'm like, I gotta, just like a cool opportunity. I'm like, sure, I may be in like a cool mecca area for disc golf and I can't play, but that's really not what the point of the trip is anyways. Did you get to play much?
Played one round Sunday morning with it was actually really cool. Oh wait, he doesn't listen to this. So I actually, this guy from Norway, his name was Halvar.
Mm.
And he was like Krokel, Norway's the course in Krokel.
Cool.
So there's three guys there. There's the pro shop manager, I think, and then there was Ola. There's Lars, Ola, and Halvar. And it was so funny because I was like eating my lunch because I was in the fan hospitality pavilion. I was eating my lunch or whatever, and these guys kept looking at me and like pointing at me, and I'm like, and I could tell they're European just because they're speaking a different language. So I was like, are they like pointing at me? So I was just like minding my business. I was like so confused. And then Halvar comes up to me. He was like, Ben Kenny? I was like, wait, what?
You're like, we're already boys off you at the first sentence.
So he's a big fan of Sagar Stance. That's why he knows me. But it was super cool. He recognized me all the way from Norway and talked to me. Anyways, I said I talked to him and said thank you. And then Sunday morning, Sean Jack organized like a little, I guess like a industry professional round. I don't really know. It was just he was just trying to get people in the industry connected to have a fun little round, and they were there. So
Very
I got
cool.
and I was on the Norwegian card with Lars, Ola, Sigrid, and Halvar, and then
Good
Caleb
for you, man.
Caleb from Pured was my. So it was just really cool to kind of that weird full circle kind of connection where I got to play with them and really get to know them even more. And yeah, they're doing some cool things down in Krokel. But yeah, that's literally it. I almost went to North Carolina twice without playing disc golf because the first time I went to record those Ace Run videos with Joseph and Jerem and whatever, I just had no time to play. It was just filming, and
Straight up.
so I almost didn't play, but I was able to. It was a cool little course. Not really, but it was cool.
Nice.
Just to like get a whole different nationality, just to kind of see what they got going on, and they were super cool.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I did not get to play. Day one of USDGC, we ended up leaving early because Jesse came into town, and it was his first time going to Charlotte and Another Round. And that's Jesse from Trash Panda, that is, should specify.
Josiah.
So, Josiah, shout out. So, him and Joseph ended up doing a round together at Scrapyard. So, I recorded that. And, yeah, anyways, point being, I got to throw like a few shots over hole 8. You know, like the go-to another
Yeah.
round, like most popular hole. But that's about it. That doesn't really count as like a full round, but it was nice anyways.
The short pad, the
Oh
long.
yeah, of course, dude.
Yeah. So that that's literally where the ace run from my video was, and no one hit it. That
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. None of us hit it either. Hopefully, Josh is listening to this right now and trying to. He probably is at hole 8 at Scrapyard trying to skip a shot off the water and ace
dude,
just to like.
yeah. The reason I bring that up is because it's just so elusive. That like ace, it's right there. It's not long. It's like a simple hyzer, but it's elusive. It's like
What's the fact
crazy.
that it's the fact that it's water. I think it should not really ever come into play, but the fact that it's there, it's like OB existing. It's like if that wasn't there, you in theory you'd probably be like, yeah, whatever. It's easy. It's not that big of a deal. But with that in the back of your head, you never know. You like yank a shot a little bit or whatever it ends up being. But yeah, like you said, talking about like seeing so many people. Like I got to that was my first time meeting Jesse, and he gave me a gift that will be a little reel that I put out soon that is going to be hilarious. Uh, he thought he could get me. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
But I got to like ride back to the shop with him because they had like an hour long kind of like meet and greet sort of thing with Jesse at the Another Round shop. So just talking with this dude that I'm like, look, I'm like everyone else where it was starting out in disc golf. I watched his videos, so it was
Dude.
cool just to be in
Mm-hmm.
that moment and be like, wow, this brought me here. Got to hang out with Robbie a little bit, talk with him. Um, Also, I may have mentioned this to you, Ben, but the name Sajko truly is taking over my disc golf life. I'm not even exaggerating. I think it was 70-30, the ratio of people calling me Sajko versus Nathan. And I remember at the time I was like, that's never catching on. And here we are.
Dude,
Here we are.
your own wife even changed her name to Sacco, even after she hated it. I mean,
I forgot who it was. Someone made a really good point the other day where they're like, because I had always joked being like how there's too many Nathans in disc golf. Like it's the most expendable name in potentially the entire sport. Uh, and then they're like, yeah, so then Sokka's perfect. I was like, I don't know why I never put the two together where I'm like, oh my goodness, dude, you're right. It's like it's finally something that kind of like separates it.
yeah, that is different. Yeah, dude, I love that. That's so funny. That like I can already imagine like Jesse call you Sacco and freaking Robbie
Mm-hmm.
and people. Did any new people like I guess
All the new people that I met that were really kind and came up to me, I think they all exclusively called me that.
Sacco?
Yeah.
That's so funny because naturally it's just something I do. I just create nicknames. I mean, I call your wife Yarsak.
Yeah, yeah. We've been calling her Yar for a little bit. It's just like a good. It's like what else do you call her? Like her sister would call her like Keeks
Yeah,
sometimes
so
or things like that. But
it's just something I do. I don't know why. It's just like I just come up with these random nicknames, and I have a thing where if I get a word or something stuck in my head, I'll say it all the time, nonstop,
mhm.
24/7. Like when when Linus was over, he's Swedish, so instead of saying man, he'd say mon. So every other sentence came out of my mouth. I was like, "What do you want to do, mon? You trying to go hit the course, mon?" I would say mon because it's just I get this like earworm. So that's what happens with nicknames. I just say these nicknames over and over, just because I don't know. I just randomly um, come up with them.
Hey,
It's
you're good
kind
at
of
them, man.
dude. Like I call my fiance liver.
Yeah, I call Kiara Brisket because her maiden name is Brissette, so just call her Brisket like obnoxiously all the
Exactly.
time for no
That's
reason.
fire. I actually
Uh,
like
did
that.
did you see those Evelina swirly star destroyers? Did you feel them? Did you
Yes, I
buy
did not
any?
feel
Did
them.
you?
I didn't buy anything at UCC. Strictly business trip. All
Yep.
business. Strictly. No, I'm not saying that as in like that would be a bad thing if I bought him. But what I'm saying is like like the limited drops weren't really on my mind. It was just kind of like you know doing my job and also um just being part of the village and stuff like that. So long story short, no, I saw them, did not feel them or purchase them.
Yeah, they were definitely like they felt like a pretty flippy flat run of Destroyer. They felt really good. Don't get me wrong, and they look really cool. But I did not end up buying one either. I think I did get some new another round merch stuff as it slowly takes over every day of my wardrobe, which I'm
Dude,
okay with that. Dude,
I was gonna say, dude, yeah, like do it up. I mean, you're part of the squad now.
yes sir. But I'm glad that I didn't buy one because I was like, I came home and ended up having a package from them. That and like a Proto Glow Champion turn in the mail. So that's gonna be like a video that I probably end up doing tomorrow. Well, film tomorrow and then edit and then probably go up like in 2 days.
Um,
Yeah, Ben, do you want to share the story, the obvious story that you know I'm referring to? I had a couple people reach out and be like, "Why?
yeah,
Why?"
without giving too much context, I can just share the story. Basically, I needed a ride to a place, and I Uber was like it was like $40 or something crazy. And so I was like, I asked Sacco, like, yo, like, are you, the place was in Charlotte. And I was like, yo, Sacco, are you able to take me to Charlotte? And he was like, I don't know, ask Luke, because Luke was his ride. Obviously, Sacco didn't have a car.
Yeah, I
So
was
then,
passenger princess all weekend, so I was very reliant on all the another round boys to drive
me
me around
too, dude.
everywhere,
Yeah, me
which
too.
I was grateful for.
Shout out David Savage. He drove me around everywhere and was my roommate for the week. So we had fun.
Nice.
And then
Yeah,
I
you
realized,
called me. You called me while I
yeah,
was like, I think I was following along with lead card at the time. Yeah, I
Jesus
answered.
Christ, man.
I'm like, hello, and you're like, dude, why are you whispering? I'm like, because they're putting like 100 feet away from me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So I didn't want to be like, I was grateful you guys were giving me a ride, and I didn't want to be obnoxious. So basically just had you guys drop me off where I needed to go. So I needed to go left more at a certain point, and you guys needed to go straight. But we were both, whether I was in an Uber or not, we were both going to that same point, up into that point. So I just had you drop me off at a random Dunkin' Donuts right at that point, so you guys could keep going without really any obstruction, and then I could Uber from that spot, and it was like $20 less. So
yes,
it was
yes.
overall worth it, and I actually had a great time. I set up on a patio system, little outdoor patio of a closed Mexican restaurant. Put a seat down, kicked up my feet, talked to my fiance and best friend, and was just kind of chilling, waiting for the Uber, and it all worked out.
To clarify, based off of the context that Ben gave, so he basically met up with Luke and I, and he was like, the whole time he's like, yeah, just I'm going to Charlotte, so obviously we're going back to Charlotte as well. And then when we get back to the car, we're about to get in Luke's car, and Ben's like, oh wait, no, dude, the place that I'm going is actually like 40 minutes northwest of here, like kind of like pretty much out of the way of where we're going. So Charlotte, we're heading back to Charlotte, and that's like, it depends on traffic, but like 40 minutes north of Rock Hill. So basically Luke's just like, no, dude, I'm not doing that. Like that's, and he's like, so Ben figures out like, okay, there's a Dunkin' Donuts like 15 minutes up the road, like north. So we go, we're like, you want us to drop you off there and just leave you? And then he's like, yeah, I'll just figure out the rest. I don't know. And we're like, okay. So we finally get there. The Dunkin' Donuts, I'm pretty sure, was closed. So we dropped him off and we're like, dude, you're sure? You're sure? He's like, I'll figure it out. We're like, okay. So I took that video of Ben just for like police evidence, pretty much being like, look, he's here. I'm like, I wish him the best. But he did end up sending a text, I believe, and letting me know that he was A-okay. But I commend you on how, what's the word? You just send it. You're like, I don't even know how I'm going to figure it out. Just send it and I'll see what happens. And you did.
That's what I was about to say. Like, sooner or later, everyone, once you get to know me as a friend, sooner or later, you'll start to realize that I kind of just go on things on a whim sometimes and just figure it out. given it, these are calculated risks. Like, obviously, I'm gonna get an Uber. Like, it's not like the craziest thing ever. Like, when I started my expo, it was kind of like no idea what I'm gonna do or how it's gonna be successful, but I have to go for it. So that's just kind of my personality. Is just like I have it tatted on my right thigh, leap of faith. And I know this Uber story isn't like a huge leap of faith. It was pretty secure that I was gonna get to the spot. But yeah, so the funny part was Charlotte's way bigger than I thought. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going up to Charlotte. I'm gonna like Uber like 5 minutes away. It's fine. Yeah, it was on the complete other opposite, like southwest side of Charlotte. You know, like so that's when once I figured that, I was like, oh, bro, like yeah, you guys can't take me. But fortunately, yeah, we figured out that plan. I was like, okay. Yeah, you guys are going this way, and at this point is where you veer off where I need to go. So drop me up there, and wait. So people hit you up and be like, "What the frick?" Like, why?
Yeah, straight up. They're like, dude, why? Like, why? Why is this man doing this? Yeah. If I learned anything this weekend, it's that Charlotte is not a walkable city, especially coming from an area.
I love it though.
Yeah, especially coming from like the Northeast, like up in the Northeast, we have like Boston and New York and places like that where like you can just hop on the T or you can go do whatever. And sorry, I'm distracted currently. But yeah, anyways, yeah, you cannot walk around Charlotte at all.
Yeah, but
point being.
So here's the thing that I fell in love about Charlotte when I first went there last year. I love that there was the skyscrapers and the skyline and the Bank of America Stadium where the Panthers play in
cool.
one block. And then 2 blocks over, my Airbnb was just like such a nice Airbnb with a backyard. It's like, it's the weirdest city I've ever seen. It's suburbs, but then in the middle of that suburb is a random, at least in my experience, I'm not sure if there's so I live near the city of Worcester where it's like every single house is a triplex, meaning 3 units stacked. It's like there's like one part of Worcester where it's suburban, but to me, everywhere I've been in Charlotte, it's just I've never seen skyscrapers and then like being able to be in a backyard and just seeing the skyscrapers right there in a nice suburban townhouse. So that's what I really liked about it. It was just like it was the city vibe. You have the same sports teams, and you're living in the city with the amenities or not the amenities, but like the benefit that you could also just drive 5 minutes away and just be in a nice, cozy little house that's your own little slice of heaven, and then drive back to downtown to get nice food and stuff like that. So it was if I plan on moving anywhere, I think as of right now it'd be the Carolinas. It'd be like Durham, Raleigh, or Charlotte or something like that. Right now it'd be Charlotte just because it's based off of disc golf, but I have an RV now, so I can move there whenever I want.
Hold up. I don't even know what I was just going to talk about. You got an RV? When did that happen?
You don't know that?
No. Did you bring that up on the podcast like last week or something? I listened to most of it. I got to the point where you were talking to Josh about like the form changes, and I was like, okay. So I just turned it off, and there was like 7 minutes.
It was hard
left.
to communicate, but I hope it helped someone in some way. But yeah, like you say, I'm a man of many secrets. I guess I haven't.
You're a very secretive man. Also, to go back about that story, about like us dropping him off, he wasn't telling us where he needed to go, which made it all the more sketchy. And then we had to drop him off in a place that neither of us know. That's maybe to you guys just being like, yeah, you just dropped him off at a Dunkin' Donuts, who cares, whatever. That was what made it weird. I was like, this man is just a mystery in every sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So you got an RV. That's exciting.
Yes. I acquired an RV last month. I actually drove it today and I'm taking it. I plan on playing that potentially. If you're listening to this, don't call me. But I plan on playing that vineyard tournament that's going on in Connecticut this Saturday.
Oh, the one that's at
Preston?
Preston Ridge? Dude, you're going to be like right next to me.
Oh, yeah, why don't you join that tournament with Yarsak?
You haven't played that course yet, right?
No, but I'm playing Friday if you guys are available with Ruminos.
Uh, dude, I trust me. I want to say yes. If there is ever a time of year that I am the most busy, it is now.
It's
So
glam
it's like
season.
it is like yeah, the max like go time for day job, Nathan. And I now currently, after going down to Charlotte, essentially learning that Joseph's a busy guy, so I now upload for another round twice a day and on Instagram, and then I also am doing a YouTube video for them a week.
Starting this weekend?
No, I've
That
I've
was
been doing it for
decided?
like the last
Oh.
couple of days.
Oh. But it started, yeah, from USDGC.
Yes. I mean that part is easy enough. The like another round stuff, that's not really that big of a deal. Like really, I actually find it's one of those things where you think it's going to be stressful, and then you're like, no, it's not. It's pretty easy. You just like a half hour before posting, you're like, oh, let me just take like a moment, see what I got, come up with something, boom, put it up. Not a big deal. But anyways, I can't commit to that as much as I would like to because I'm sure I will be very busy with my day job. Maybe I can do everything, like just stay there late tomorrow and get every single thing done and not have to worry about it, but I cannot make a promise.
So here's the thing. You're done your day job within the next 6 months. Another round's going to hire you full time.
Dude, that would be the dream. Those boys joke with me being like, dude, when are you moving down here? Avery was like,
Bro,
I'm going to start sending you houses.
that's what I'm saying, bro. You have such an opportunity. You got to go full force. And not idiotically. Obviously, you have a job, but I feel like you could easily supplement the income you have from that job with disc golf stuff.
I potentially could. I make risks, but I don't know. I don't really have my thoughts like figured out regarding that because like for you just are like send it, and I am too in the sense that I'm like I've made up my mind. I'm just gonna whatever I'm trying to do, I'm just gonna do it. But it's not like I don't know. I need like more so like slight guarantees and a certain things. Yeah, I'm not gonna like talk about it too much because like I said, I don't feel like I'd be able to like properly convey how I feel about things like that. Do I think that I could do it? Dude, maybe
with
like,
that game plan I told you about, you could though easily. I mean,
but it would require
this is if you want to be editor boy or YouTube boy as you call yourself, or the another round guys call yourself, as like your job. Just talk to. I mean, just be disc golf's freelance editor. I feel like so many people need that in disc golf, and there's not really anyone to go to. It's kind of like you just got to find like a Fiverr editor or like hire your own.
Do people actually use Fiverr in disc golf edits?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just, that's
I was
going
going to say, that doesn't sound like a good investment at all.
No one knows. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like you gotta, I don't know. But no, I understand too. I don't make stupid risks.
No,
either.
I know.
Like,
Ben, I understand.
No, I'm just saying like, I understand. I wasn't saying that as in like a defending myself. Like, what the heck, man? Like, I take risks, like good amount, but I also, before I started doing these expos full time, I had to make sure I had 2 years under my belt that were successful. So it's kind of like I understand what I'm trying to say is I understand where you're coming from. Where it's like, yeah, you could just send it gung ho and hope it works out. But, sometimes it's nice to see if it works out first, then to have that cushion to then take that leap before it's just like, because you just don't know if it's going to work out.
Yeah. Well, another reason like having that media pass and I'm like, I just need to work and just get as much as I can is like, of course it's all another round stuff. So if there was like anything insane or any cool things like shots that I could do, that goes towards another round. But otherwise, the majority of it is just footage of random shots that it's like, it's not going to make like some really cool, like, whoa, this is crazy, like another round type reel. So like having all this footage to do stuff for players, I think that's kind of like what you're talking about in a way, where like the one that I did for Cal Longquist, that was one like something completely different that I don't normally ever do. not really like a hype beast type of edit. I think with that something like that, I more so just like I was like, okay, I'm trying to go for like a certain feeling. Like, what can I do to achieve that feeling in that sort of real like style of edit? Um, so yeah, it'll be fun to do that for other players because I have a lot of footage.
Um, so is your is your plan? Maybe you don't know. Is your plan to kind of lean more into doing things for other people, or would you prefer, or is your ideal goal to kind of be your own, um, kind of, I guess,
My own
influencer?
brand. Yeah.
Yeah, your own brand. So like, or is it just like kind of like this is what you have to do to get to that, or are you just enjoying it way more, kind of putting in and growing another round and stuff like that? Is that kind of like your lane? Like, yeah, like I don't really care about. I'll just make my fun little videos whenever I feel like, but I enjoy creating stuff just to create.
Well, I like having both, and that's the most lame answer of all time. But I like contributing to something that is bigger than me, and like my biggest gripe with my day job, the job itself and the people in it are really cool, but the entity of it does not value you as an individual. And I understand. Like I talked about this with Jesse. Even it's like the most millennial type answer where you're like, I seek fulfillment in the things that I do. It's not good enough just to like work a day job just for the sake of income. And obviously, I would say probably the majority of people do that, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. And if anything, it's necessary. Um, so
It
yeah,
is,
I like contributing to something that cares, and those guys all do. I mean, from the get go, just like the same sense of humor. Everyone's on like the same wavelength about just like what we're doing, where we're going, and it's just fun. I think like getting into disc golf, that's why we like it, because you just have like a sense of community. Like we all just want to feel like we're a part of something, right? And there's some sort of I guess like consistency in that, or like I'm getting paid from them, and that's nice, as opposed to like the other side, like the influencer side. Maybe not everything is like guaranteed per se, but that's still fun. My point being, I still want to work on my own personal brand because that's just why I started doing it in the first place. It's just fun. It's not even about like a brand per se. Like I like doing, like I said, I've been doing like the player edits, and that's just something new for me. So it's like that's exciting. Um, but otherwise, like today I posted something about like myself doing kind of, I feel like what people traditionally know me for, just like doing like a me like quirky whatever edited like a video about a disc or whatever it ends up being. So I'd like to just, I think, bounce both the best I can. And I don't know. I mean, I really enjoy working for Another Round, truly. So I mean, that's what the plan is. But I'm always going to still post my own stuff because I Another Round's never a meme ish per se, like the content that they put out. So I like being able to add that side of it with my content, I guess.
Well, yeah, I was more so mentioning that because you have this YouTube video that did really well off the bat, but you haven't uploaded, and I haven't uploaded either. So I'm just saying.
I
But you
know I
haven't
still have to work on the Gannon Burr edit, and I'm like, I
you haven't
right now I'm
uploaded on your
working.
own channel, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It seems like kind of right now you're just like enjoying the another round, working on that as opposed to kind of like doing on YouTube wise. Obviously, you can crush it on Instagram, but
Well,
YouTube wise,
I also believe in the brand. Like Another Round, like maybe for a lot of other people, like they're just like a brand since starting out that I was like I've mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it on this podcast, but Nick from Mr. and Mrs. Bogey, like his content when I first started, that was like the reason I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a phone like 2 years ago. Like, and I was like, I'm just going to buy it the most up to date, newest iPhone. and then I'm just gonna like with the best camera, and I'm gonna go start making content, and like that's it. Like I don't care. Like every single day or every other day, whatever it ends up being, I'm like I'm just gonna always put something out. And another round was another big part of that. I mean, they're influential in like disc golf content in general. Just
Yeah.
like people being obsessed with acing or even just like the style of video or just whatever it ends up being. I think like what they bring to the table is, I think like a lot of, there's almost like a disconnect between brands and uh, like customers or people like whoever they're trying to like sell to. And I think Another Round does a good job of making it all feel organic and authentic, but it's still funny. But it's almost kind of like
Yeah, like
the brand
Joseph's
almost,
everyone's buddy. Joseph's everyone's best friend type deal.
yeah. And the brand almost says like, we get it. Like, I don't want to use the word like, there's not like it's kind of like a swagger to it almost, as opposed to being like a lot of things in disc golf are like pretty dorky. And Another Round kind of like balances that, I think, like really well. And there's only so many brands in disc golf that do that.
Yeah, no,
Um,
yeah. I was just trying to get a peek behind the curtain of kind of what you were thinking. I wasn't saying I think you're crushing with them around. I think it's exactly where you're meant to be and
Thanks,
fit
man.
in. And it's been kind of incredible to see how your just journey with that and how you've
Yeah.
been really helping them out and it's been a mutual benefit. I was just seeing like for example, like for me, my thing is like I know content's not my biggest thing. The expos is my biggest thing, and the
Hmm.
content is just gonna be on the side. So, like the YouTube content, I should say, or the Instagram
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
gonna be something I do when I want to and create. And
And that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I've learned more and more that like the expos are my baby, and I have to grow them and do them
Hmm.
as well as I can. And if that sacrifices me not being able to edit as much and stuff like that, I'm okay with that. So that I was just trying to get a kind of maybe like a
Yeah.
what
Get
you
a
were
feel
think.
for what
Yeah,
I'm striving for.
yeah,
I
exactly.
completely, I get
What
that.
you're like not 5-year plan, but like where you see yourself kind of in the next few years, kind of your goals were. And I think staying with Another Round, I mean, is not a bad thing for those goals. I think it's a great thing. I mean,
Hmm.
it's like, especially if you can somehow be a part of the brand, even more. We see these
Yeah.
guys like Foundation, for example. Trevor, Hunter, Connor. You saw Trevor be part of a Foundation, start his own YouTube channel, and
Hmm.
it's like doing numbers and it's going insane. It was
Yeah.
it was like rapid growth. So I think So I think it's a really cool thing that
Right.
to be a part of something like that. And then obviously it can benefit you. I was just trying to
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of get a scope.
I oh, I like that there's creative freedom, and that's just been like from the very beginning, which is super cool. And don't get me wrong, like working for Another Round, sure, I'm helping them and doing all these things for them, but at the same time, it helps me out too, right? And it allows me to better do the things that I'm trying to do. Sure, I can't like put time into my own YouTube video, but I'd only put out one anyways. But like everything is so synergistic and just ties together. Like working for Another Round allowed me to like super grateful that it like allowed me to go down to USDGC in the first place, and having like a good standing relationship with the guys over at Innova. I firmly believe that helped me get the pass that I did to like go do media stuff at USDGC and things like that, and everything all just kind of like works together. And
Yeah. No, for
maybe
sure.
I've said it on here before, like I don't I always have like something that I'm striving for, but it's all like very loosely. I just keep going, and I'm very, there's may not be like the very specific thing that I'm trying to do, but like there's always these wonderful people along the way that have been helping me, and then it like help guides me to what I eventually am like going for. Yeah, I don't know. That might not even answer your question. I don't even know what originally we were talking about, but
No, yeah, I think that answers my question. I think it's perfect. You're just, content creation is your passion. You don't really
truly,
care about the tournament or like rating or whatever
no.
side. You care way more about the content side of disc golf, which I think is super cool, and I think we need more people like that to offer kind of that different product where it's not like the pros and
Hmm.
people that are good at. We need the people that just create content and are in content or in disc golf
Yeah, yeah.
to kind of give that side of the more creative side of it, where it's like intentional videos for viewers and fans that are super um unique. So yeah, I think you answered it perfectly. You're just gonna keep going and see where it gets you. I mean, you know
That
what's
was all this was like starting out was just me buying the phone and being like, let me just do this. Like I want a creative outlet because with things like COVID at the time, you couldn't like tour in bands anymore, and I just wanted to, and like you're relying on multiple members. I'm like, I just want my own thing that I can do whenever I want to, and I can just have fun and learn stuff along the way. Uh,
and
so yeah,
isn't it so crazy? Just like all this snowball effect that kind of
absolutely wild.
this disc golf journey is, where we both have those stories of just like like for example, like randomly I saw your that time when I first met you, I saw your reel the first day. Did we talk at all? I think so. Yeah, we like messaged each other. I saw I
Dude,
forget, but then
go
I
ahead.
saw you the next day after we messaged each other, or I saw you. I was like, oh, you're that
Mhm.
guy. And crazy to think all that years, like a year later, we started a podcast together. And then
Yep.
crazy to think that through that podcast, we get Joseph on and we're like, bro, if you need reels or anything, Sajko's the guy. And then bada bing, bada boom. It's just
Everything
like,
everything leads to something, and
it's
that's not the
just
reason that you should
weird.
do it in the first place, but
Yeah.
it is. I think firmly believe. So I guess I will talk about disc golf, but even just like I remember because in college I was pretty quiet into myself. All my friends were away at different colleges across the country, and I was like, commuting to school, and I just kind of kept to myself, and it was kind of sad, honestly. And I remember I was working at Dairy Queen at the time, when I wasn't, like I went to class already, and then I went over to go work, and this kid came in wearing like a band T-shirt for a band that I listened to, and otherwise I was very much in my own world, like listening to like that
Hmm.
style of music, and I had like an inner monologue being like, you should say hi. You really should just be like, hey, I like your shirt. But to me, I've talked about that prior as well. Like I always like struggled to do that. It's like, nah, don't bother. Like why would you do that? Don't bother them.
Yeah. That's just human
Um,
in general.
but I ended up like getting past that, and I did say that, and then he ended up being this kid that was like, oh, you like this band? That's cool. Like my band, like tries to kind of like go for this sort of sound too, and like introduce me to like the local scene, and then you go to that, and then you get involved with all these people in your local area, and then all of a sudden I'm in like hardcore bands like touring. So my point being, just those times where you're like, I don't want to say hi, or I don't want to do this, it's just like, just say hi. Like you never know what could happen. Like
Yes.
really, there were even it was funny this weekend, like being out there with these cards and like recording them because people know Joseph's face. They don't know mine. So they probably just see me being like, who the frick is this guy? There was, actually Paul saw me, like Paul Macbeth, and I was like, how I look at it, I'm like, I'm not going to bother these guys. They're working. I'm like,
Yeah.
they do their thing, and I don't exist. I'm just recording. Cool. Um, Paul saw me and said hi. Did not expect that. I know he's normally kind of a quiet guy. Um,
Yeah, especially during tournament when he's locked in.
yeah, and then like Mason Ford, I think he like saw the Cal Longquist edit that I did, and he's like, oh, what's your name, dude? He like just came up to me after his card like teed off on the hole, and I like, yeah, whatever. So just cool things, it's cool
Yeah,
things like that where just keep doing your thing, keep making your stuff, go say hi to people.
yeah,
It's like all obvious things, but yeah, like you said, Ben, just as humans, we're like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
I know. Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy to think. Like, I feel like we would have eventually became friends, but like, who knows in that moment, if we didn't become friends, if like, you know, we would have started that, maybe we would have became friends later, but who knows if we would even started this podcast. And I know this podcast isn't like huge or anything.
No, but
I'm just saying, it's just like still kind of really cool that we're kind of growing this together and have a little fan base. And like I for the first time I got recognized because of Funsie. Not recognized because of Funsie, but this little kid Preston Disc Golf. He's you know him? Yeah. So
yeah, I got to like see him this weekend, and I didn't.
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw. I'm assuming fatherly figure of some variety, and I didn't recognize him because he's never like in like the like pictures. You always see Preston.
Recording,
yeah, and Preston, he's still a kid, so I didn't see him, so he's just like pretty short. So I saw this gentleman, and then I looked down. I'm like, "You're Preston!" I think I said that. I was like, "Dude, you're Preston. You're." I
went up to
killing
him
it.
I
was like, "You're killing it."
I seeked him out too. That's hilarious.
He was so nice. He was just like, "Thank you," and the gentleman was like, "Yeah, we want to get a picture." So they're like taking a picture with Joseph, and this guy was just like, "You don't have to be awkward, Sajko. You get in the picture." And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like people, I walk with Joseph all the time. I'm like, people want to take pictures with him all the time. I don't expect that they want me to be in there. You know what I'm saying? But it was very nice. So cool to see him. I just from the very beginning, like when they started putting out content, I was like, following this kid.
Dude, he throws
also
exactly like Paul Macbeth is actually.
Oh, it's amazing. So fun to watch. Also, did you see the coolest, swaggiest dog of all time out on that course this weekend?
Ajax, I think is his name.
Yeah. Did you follow them on Instagram as well?
No, I'm not a dog guy like that.
Okay. Well, Ajax is an absolute baller. For listeners,
I saw
this
him.
dog.
Dude, he had the goggles on in the dark. That's when I saw
this
him.
dog
Jeez,
has
committed.
like ski goggles on. Or something to that effect, and it's just like wearing like a vest and everything. This is the most. If there's a dog that has steez, it's this one. I mean, just dripping in swag. Really cool. So yeah, I'm glad. I went up to him, and I was like, "This is weird, but can I take a video of your dog real quick? Because I'm like I'll probably use it in like an edit or something like that." And he's like, "Yeah, go for it."
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, that dog is like the type of dog you pet and then you're like, dang, I didn't know you were that chill, bro. My bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like the dog tried to dap you up and you're like, oh, dude, are we boys right off the bat?
Yes. But yeah, I don't know. Where I was going to go with that is just like, it's crazy to think how young we are and how much like years we have ahead of us in this sport and where we're going to end up. It's kind of like unfathomable to think that right now could be potentially the smallest smallest part. I don't know. Right now could be the part where we look back and be like, oh, like, man, I was just starting out. Where right now everything's so exciting, but then like who knows what could happen? You know, I could buy out Hooligan Disc and become the majority. I'm just kidding. Obviously that's not gonna happen. But
watch out, Garrett.
Coming up with scenarios where it's just like, you know, it's so cool to think 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, like, are we gonna be like this something crazy in this sport, and then look back and be like, man, like those are the humble beginnings. You know, it's just like, or maybe this is it. This is kind of like what we do.
I even look back
to our little corner.
I look back to 2 years ago, like I mentioned buying my phone to like do that. It's the exact same phone I was using at USDGC to like record people. I was like, that's who would have guessed? I think because my plan is to get the iPhone 16 this year. So I'll probably do like a video
USB-C,
kind of
baby.
Yeah, alluding to that idea of being like, this phone that I bought is like the exact same phone that brought me to this point.
Put it in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, boy. Frame it, put it up on the wall. Ben, I wanted to, because like we are always very introspective on this podcast. Are you someone that, and I think I already know the answer, but are you someone that firmly believes that you could do anything that you put your mind to? Or like you can be like whatever you want in life or things like that?
So, yes, but not because of me. So I'm a follower in Jesus. So I think for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's more like you know, I my life's in his hands, and it's like kind of like where he through him, it's where he wants to lead me in kind of where like there's a verse that say like if you ask it has been given to you, stuff like that. Obviously there's more. I gotta that's a bad paraphrase of the verse, but and there's a verse about how he lays out the path before you and lays out your
Mm-hmm.
plans for you, stuff like that. So where it's like when I think about anything can set my mind to, yes, I do believe that,
Okay.
but it's not because of my willpower. It's just I believe personally that it's kind of just Jesus and his grace and opportunities that give me these opportunities to do it. And so, I'm just kind of following that type of that notion of like if something I'm never gonna force something. It's kind of just like if it doesn't feel right, I'm not gonna be like, nope, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do no matter what. I'm gonna take it. It's kind of just like wherever he wants to take me, I will go. And so far, I mean, I've just been so blessed. You know, I know we talk about this stuff, and this episode has been really cool. It's kind of been like a reflection and kind of like honestly
Mm-hmm.
a point of pride for us, where it's just like this cool things we've gotten to do and just like reflect on, which is 100% necessary. And sometimes I need to do that because it's just like the blessings I've received because of this disc golf community and just like these coincidence I don't think are coincidental at all. I think this is kind of the path I was put on for a reason. There's a reason basketball didn't work out. There's a reason music didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that, where it's just like, I could have kept pursuing music and just been stubborn, and I would have failed because I wasn't good at music. But I kind of slowly I shifted into disc golf, and it's just like the amount of blessings I've been getting in disc golf has been in a abundant, absurd amount, where it's just like, man, like this really feels like this is the place I'm meant to be and kind of pursuing. And I think that's been the coolest thing. So yes, I think if you put your mind to it, you can do it. And I think a part of it is just like if you sometimes we fail, but sometimes, and this is like a blanket statement, but like sometimes when we fail, you just got to keep. It's like hard to fail if you just keep going. Now I know that's not a scenario for everything, and that's a huge blanket statement, but I hope you're trying to kind of get the idea that I'm trying to say
Mm-hmm.
is that like if you keep going and going and going at a thing and don't give up, I mean eventually something has to work out.
Yeah.
But
Everyone
yeah,
fails. It's all about how
yes,
you respond to it. Um,
yeah,
it's like some people are just like, I'm going to try something else, or maybe you learn something from it. And like, granted, I think it's also important to try a bunch of different things in life and not just stick with one thing. And because then you just better hone in on the thing that you actually are passionate about. Like
yeah.
you were saying like what if we probably would have met like farther down the line. And I mean, how many times like have you and I said getting into the sport, we're like, man, I wish we got into this when we were younger. I think that will go for so many things in our life where we're like, man,
Yes.
I wish that I just started this like at this time. And it's like, okay, well, you didn't. And who even knows if you would have liked it if you had started at that time anyways. Like all the
Yeah.
experiences that
So.
you've had up to this point
Hmm.
have brought you the things that you're feeling and the things like opportunities that you're having. So
And
like there's
yeah.
no sense in like looking back and being like, oh, well, I would have changed. It's like,
Yes,
who
because
knows? Who
that's what I'm
knows?
talking about with that kind of plan, where it's like, you know, I wish that I would always wish, like, man, I wish I started earlier. I could be on the pro tour winning millions of dollars if I just started early right now. Because I found
millions.
I'm just saying, like, whatever. I'm just saying.
I know.
But I found a sport in 2015. I played it maybe 10 times from 2015 to 2017. So I had an opportunity. But then, yeah, it's the same notion. It's like, okay, well, let's really take it back. One, you can't change it. Two, who knows if the Expos would ever happen if I started back then? Who knows all these opportunities that were exactly like you said. Who knows if I just went all in 2015, 2017 in disc golf, didn't work out, fell out of love with it, and just never thought about it again. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, that's kind of like exactly what I'm talking about. It's just why I've been so just grateful about like just this whole community and the people in it. And I mean, it's like I'm able to do the things I do because of people who are listening to this. And, you know, that will never go, I don't know the phrase, but that'll never go dim on me, I guess, let's say, where, you know, I'll always appreciate these people, and because it's just kind of like just really crazy to think what we're doing with our lives right now. Like we are like following our dreams. Disc golf, unrelated. Like, let's not even talk about disc golf. We are literally setting a dream we had, and we're accomplishing it, which is just like, isn't that boggling? Mm-hmm. We have these dreams to be an astronaut, a doctor, whatever, and then eventually, you know, they shift, and then this is the first time where my dreams are starting to become reality, which is just something it's unfathomable. Thank you.
I mean, I remember a quote from Seth Rogen of all people, which I guess is kind of funny, but he said the only thing that will guarantee, and I'm paraphrasing, the only thing that will guarantee that you don't get to the thing that you wanna be, or that the thing that you're trying to achieve, is like stopping. It's like, if you keep going, maybe you'll get there. You have no idea. But if you stop going after it, you can for certain you're never going to get there.
That's exactly what I was saying. Like, yeah, yes, you can accomplish anything to a certain extent. You just sorry. You just got
stank face.
You just got to keep going. That's the thing, you know. And obviously, with me saying that, there's a healthy level. Obviously, if you're doing the same thing over and over, isn't that like what Einstein or Isaac Newton said was being an idiot, just doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results? So it's a huge blanket statement, but it does ring true. You know, eventually, if you just keep going, something will pan out. You just gotta not give up. And I think that's kind of the phase where we're in right now, where it's maybe not in disc golf, but in life, we just didn't give up. These things didn't work out, didn't pan out with our favor, and you know, the door opened up for a different thing for us, and then we're like, oh yeah, I could go after this, but everything else has failed for me, and yeah, I'm not going to make it in this thing. It's just not for me. But no, we just kept going and kind of figured it out. So my biggest advice for everyone out there, if you have a dream and a passion.
Yo, put some inspirational music behind this. It's about to rip.
If you have a dream and a passion, go for it. I know how cliche that is, but just really find out what you truly love and try and go for it. And with that being said, it is okay if what you love is working in an office or as a bus driver or a waiter or a stock market exchange guy or just taking care of your family, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad. That is fine if that is your passion and dream. I'm just saying, whatever that may be for you, life is too short and not worth being miserable all your days doing things you just don't enjoy doing. Yes, you might have to, for this brief period of time, do this thing you don't like doing to get to the next point, but you have to at least try to get from the thing you don't like doing. You have to try the thing you do enjoy doing to hopefully get that avenue to eventually switch that where you're doing the thing you enjoy. So life is just so complex and so
Yeah.
just,
I mean,
yeah.
I was thinking about this earlier in the week. I mean, listen, this is going to be very blunt, but like, you are going to die someday, right? Yeah, exactly. Like, newsflash.
Yeah.
So just, how often do you look back on things, Ben? Um, I remember situations like, even like, you look back at like old grades that you were in and you were like afraid of like what these people would think if you
Or
did
like,
X, Y,
yeah,
or Z. And then you look
asking
back
out
on
the
that so
girls,
far
stuff
in the
like that.
future.
Yeah.
So far in the future, you look back and you're like, why did I care what that person thought or any of these people thought at all? Like, maybe some of them don't even exist in your life anymore, or like, you're
Most of
looking
them.
back on it, you're like, that wasn't even that big of a deal. So I'm trying to like my best to take that mindset, because I know like the things that I worry about in this current state of my life, I'll look back and be like, why did I care? Just get past
That's
that. So
good
I'm trying to like
advice.
take that mindset and apply that to like my modern day Nathan. Because you should care what the right people think, but in general, just do the things that you are always like, should I? I don't know if I just go do, yeah, go
Yeah,
do it. Anyways,
that's another great example. Where, well, I mean, we already mentioned it about the band kid that was wearing the shirt that you liked. That who know, like if you didn't say hi to him, you know that was an integral part of your life. That
mm-hmm.
that split opportunity might have shifted your life completely in another way, where you might have not even been, you know, in that scene in a band and get to do all the cool opportunities you've done if you just didn't say hi to that guy.
Ben, can you think of all the integral steps that got you in like your disc golf stuff or whatever that got you to the point that you're in? Because now that
Yeah.
we're talking about it, I was like, this is obviously a very reflective episode for us. So I was thinking, I'm like, okay, so the getting into disc golf, watching like following things on disc golf, like another round, Mr. and Mrs. Bogey, buying that phone, committing to making content just relentlessly. Doesn't matter, like I don't care, whatever, like consequent, whatever. I'm like always put it out, and then doing that to the point that like meeting Ben, hanging out with Ben, doing the podcast,
Yeah, I don't.
meeting Joseph because of like having him on this podcast,
Yeah.
like yeah, working for another round like brought to us to like worlds and USDGC and just like so it's like, do you have those things in your life that you can like
Yes.
look back on and like, okay, these moments are like the things that were the catalysts for one another?
Yeah, I can give you exactly. Before I do that, I think a huge another testament to you is that you said yes to this podcast, and I think, you know, obviously you got to meet Joseph through it, but I think that's something that people struggle with, and kind of what you're talking about, where it's just like, just say yes to things. You could just try it out. You can just stop doing it if you don't like it, but you'll never know the opportunity that's on the other side. So just start saying yes to things. But yeah, for me, dude, I'm gonna get so granular here. All right.
Oh, I can't wait. Let's buckle in. Dude, I need to make a coffee real quick. This man just disappeared. It's just me on the podcast.
Because I need to show something. So,
Okay.
2015, my mother, I think for Christmas or something, buys me
Dude,
the
no way.
Innova starter kit.
You still have the original Leopard from when you started?
Yes.
That's
Is it.
awesome. I do not have mine. I do still have my first Ace disc. Actually, my sister has it. It's in her bag.
That's awesome. So
I don't even know if she knows that.
yeah, so this is from the first starter kit. It was a Leopard, and then eventually my mom got it for me. Like I said, I went to, okay, this is crazy. So talk about, wait a second. I think this is actually insane. So
Okay. Hit me with it.
we have similar stories, because what's crazy is I went to Marshall Street's Pyramids random doubles, where we met, by the way.
Yeah.
This is like my fourth time playing. Like I said, I played maybe 10 times in 2015 and 2017. It was just like 2 to 3 times a year, just going out with the buddies. First time I'm doing random doubles. So I went to Pyramids to I bought like an EMAC Truth one time. So I'll get to that point. I had maybe 3 to 4 discs. I show at the Pyramids League. I get paired up. This is 2015, 2016.
With Matt Graham, right?
With Matt Graham.
This is what I'm talking about, dude.
That's what I'm saying. We have a similar story where it's like where we met someone at Pyramids and started a podcast with them, and through that podcast got a weird opportunity. So I met Matt Graham, obviously of the Nick and Matt show, where I really got my start. He was a youth pastor at the time. Like I said, I'm a Christian, so I started going. He invited me to his church. I started going to his Wicked Awesome Wednesdays, which is super fun. I met Nick there. My best friend, even at the time, is Nick Carl's cousin. So it's Nick's cousin, has been my best friend since I've known Matt. So yeah, we met and we hung out for like a year. I went to his youth group, and then I just, because I have my own church, I just didn't go the next year or something like that. Maybe I grew out of it. I was too old. You have to be like a certain age. I think it's like 13, 14, 15. I don't even know. So then 2015 to 2017, like I said 10 times, I put disc golf on the shelf. I'm just not into it. 100% not into it. Not a fan of it. 2020 comes around. My friends are being like, "Hey, we're going disc golfing. Do you want to come?" I'm like, "Nah, like that. I'm not into disc golf. It's just like, it's boring. I just don't want to go." So they invited me. I had an opportunity then. 2021 rolls around. This man, Brendan Friend, is shout out Bumpy, because I hope you guys can strap him for the ride. This is going to be a little longer, but I've never been able to kind of explain the full story. Brendan Friend, he posts on his story, like him in like a cowboy getup playing at Buffinville Dam. I'm like, "Hey, I know Buffinville. Yo, let me know next time you go. I'd like to go." I still had my original starter set, 3 starter set.
You're lucky you didn't lose it at Buff.
And that I know. And that judge. And I actually have a video of that day.
Let's go, dude.
I'll show it. I'll find after. But I have a video of that day when I started playing. So then I played. And that first round when I was back, so this was 2021, so 5-year hiatus, he mentions, "Yeah, bro, I've been listening to the Nick and Matt show." And I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "Matt Graham, Nick Carl." I was like, "Oh, I know those guys."
The heck, son?
These guys are my friends. So that piques my interest. But at that day, I get the bug, bro. The bug like I've never gotten the bug. It's all I could think about. It's all I could do. It's all I wanted to do. For some reason, that time around, it was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do.
Do you think you just saw, like, can you think of, like, the throw for you or something like that?
I don't know. There wasn't the throw. It was just that day was fun.
I think for me, not to derail you from your story, but I think the thing that actually, like, because all of 2020, like, we would go play with Kiara's dad, but we were always like, whatever, like, we don't really want to go. We went to Vermont that year, and we're like, oh wait, there's probably disc golf up here, and we went to Smuggler's Notch. I think that was the point that we were like, oh my goodness, wait, disc golf can be beautiful, and it just, like, it's everywhere. And we just, like, bought a bunch of discs, and I remember that was the moment, at least for me, where I was like, I'm in.
So yeah, I didn't have like a year, but I do have the video, which is actually really cool. I'll pull that up real quick.
No way.
Yeah. So this is the first.
That's dude, I love that.
This is the first day I got back into this.
So cool.
Yeah. So literally, my friend.
Anyways, yeah. Why don't you keep? No, well, I just have a couple quick points. Seeing that. So, one of my bandmates, he was the one that opened up the ice cream store, and like left the band, all that, all good. That's not what the point. The point is, he like obviously sees my stuff and goes disc golfing a little bit, but I didn't know, like, I saw him semi recently and he was like, dude, we go disc golfing like a decent amount. And yesterday he posted a story. He's up in Vermont and he posted a story like playing at Chester Disc Golf, and it warmed my heart because I didn't know that he was still like playing that, and like they're seeking out places in the places or like states or wherever they're going to like go play this sport. So it warmed my heart. Also, I took video of my parents, I didn't say before, but like they did go to Vermont and we did play together. We didn't play at Smugs because I was like, that might be too long. So we went to Von Trapp. We all played as a family.
Yes, Von Trapp's sick.
Great course. If you ever get the chance, go hit that course up, and the beer hall.
Beer hall.
My dad, dude, I think my dad is a liar because he's like, yeah, I've never really played disc golf. This man was chucking.
He was humming.
Dude, I'm not even kidding. Wait until you see these videos. I'm calling him out. If he's listening to this, like, he was like, that's not even good. I'm like, he was throwing sidearm and backhand, dude. And like, it was like a DX Wraith. He threw it like 300 feet. I was like, this man, it just brought me.
Yeah.
I was so stoked for him.
That's insane.
He flipped up that DX Wraith first try on a sidearm, and it full flex and held over like way to the left. And he was like, I was like, Dad, I don't even think you understand how good that was. And he was like, it wasn't good. It was far away from the basket. I was like, you just threw that like over 300 feet on a sidearm. Like,
he understands the hyzer flip already. That's the best.
Oh, dude, it was. Wait until you see the video.
I'm excited.
Anyways, yeah, please continue your integral moments.
So he says Nick and Matt, and then I'm like, oh, Nick and Matt. So I have the bug, like I said. And here's what I'm talking about, where these crazy things happen. Mm-hmm. So I own a tackle store. And I'm working like full time at it at the time. Mm-hmm. This is like maybe our second year in business, not even like a year and a half. And in the winter months, if we have no ice, the store's dead. We're making like nothing compared to the summer months.
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. So every year it was like 2 years in a row, but the year before I did like a UPS helping job, like where I would drive my mom's van and help deliver the guys' packages. And then I looked and I was like, oh, like let me get another seasonal job. That's what it's called. You work for a month, just like extra income. At that time, I wasn't getting paid from the shack because with a business, you have to.
Yeah, just reinvest over and over.
Yes. So I got a job at Vans in Natick, about 45 minutes away.
Yes.
So 45 minutes away, I got a job at Vans in Natick. Through that, I'm like, dude, this is a long drive. I need to listen to a podcast. I listen to the Nick and Matt show. And that's my favorite podcast, because I remember like Brendan being like, oh. I was like, I got to see what they got. So I'm listening to it. I'm so excited for every new episode. I'm like, oh, every Monday. So every time I would only work like 2 days in advance. It wasn't anything crazy. But every Monday I'd be like, oh, is there a new episode out? And then there was a new episode. And through that episode, Matt, what would be really cool is to find that episode and kind of listen back to the exact moment.
That would be cool.
So I listened to that episode, and in that episode, Matt says, man, Nick, this is getting hard, but we might have to like hire an intern or something to press these buttons. Like, it's so hard to talk.
Didn't you hit him up?
So yes, he's like, it's so hard to talk and, produce the show. So I'm like, I had a background in me making videos, and the reason I've kind of been able to seamlessly transition into disc golf creation and podcasts is because I'm that same kid that everyone is, where it's like 10 years ago you started making YouTube videos here and there, and just like it was your hobby, and you started editing on your own. And for my music, I started editing on my own. So I'm like, I was like, hey, I am good at, this. I had my own podcast at the time where I interviewed the bassist for Incubus, Ben Kenny. So I was like, you know what? Like, that would be really cool if I could, I wasn't expecting to be on camera or anything. I just wanted to be a part of the podcast. So I found the message.
Contribute to something.
I said, hey, Matt, this is January 5th, 2022. Hey, Matt,
Oh,
if you
yes,
actually need
dude.
help producing the show, now that you got live calls and all that, I'd be willing to do it for 100% free.
That's a weird way to word that.
Sorry, yeah. That's because I didn't actually send that. I read it wrong. I'd be willing to do it for free 100% of the time, is what I said.
Okay.
I'm off work every Monday. If not, no big deal. Was just seeing if you need help. Needed a resident man behind the cam. LOL, thanks. Either way, keep killing it. He says, hey man, let's set up a time.
Good message.
Thank you. He said, let's set up a time for you to swing by my studio and we can talk about options to see if something would work out. Do you have any experience production? Oh yeah, I'm so dumb. I forgot. I made music for 7-8 years of my life, so I already had this microphone, which was kind of like my bargaining chip, if that makes sense. I'd be like, I have this Shure SM7B because that's what they were using. It's a
Then he was like, oh, he
microphone.
knows tech.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, I'd be willing to make you use it. So this microphone was actually in the studio for 2 years. I was like, yeah, I'd let you use it and stuff like that. So that was kind of like my hopefully this can help. And then he said, sounds like you could be a good fit, but whatever. So then, we do a test run and stuff like that. I go to the office just to watch how a show's produced. And then the next week I'm clicking the buttons, and the next week, I'm suddenly on camera here and there. And then the next week he's having me say stuff over his microphone. And the next week, eventually I get my own camera. So I'm in the Naked Matt show, and this is cool. I'm intern Ben now. This is a big deal for
people
me.
still call you that.
Yeah, they do. Which is totally fine, by the way. I actually love it. And I'm intern Ben at the time, and it's really cool. I'm like, dang, this is really awesome. And then I'm into disc golf for December 2021, or kind of around that same time where I started on the Nick and Matt show.
Mm-hmm.
I realize I look up disc golf convention, disc golf expo, and I'm like, holy crap.
So that just popped into your head one day?
So my dad, for a living, runs fishing expos.
Oh, yes.
So that is why. That's the linear. Yes. So it did pop in my head, but I'm thinking how can I be in this? Because at this point, I'm in love with disc golf. That's all I want to do. I'm like, how can I be in disc golf?
Same.
And I look up, and I'm like, dude, there is nothing. And at that moment, my heart sinks, and I'm just a nervous wreck. And I'm thinking over and over and over again. I'm like, oh my goodness, because I now realize that I have to put on a disc golf expo. I have to. I can't say no to this giant gap in the market that is just there that I know I could pull off. Yes, and this is what we were talking about earlier. Yes, I could just take the easy route and be like, I don't feel like doing all that work. I'm just gonna not do it, and whatever. I don't really care. But that sinking feeling was also was just because how nervous I got, because it's I have to do this no matter what. I have to try. I at least have to try. So I try. I start promoting. I'm freaking shaking. I'm shaking Steve Dodge's hand, yes, but I'm shaking.
Yeah.
Talking to Steve Dodge, trying to pitch the expo. I'm shaking. Talking. Derek Skull from Gatekeeper was one of the people I've first talked to about the expo. Trying to convince people this expo's happening. And there was some people that are right on board right away, which is incredible. You know who you are. I'm very appreciative vendor wise, but I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. This is how is this gonna work out? So then I'm shaking, like I said, through the Nick and Matt show, I got a ton of opportunities to talk to vendors and get people there, and get attendees there, because a lot of people were listening to the show. So I got to tell people about that. And then the day of the expo comes, and I didn't that year I didn't do pre-sale tickets, so I didn't know if anyone. Which is, hindsight was pretty dumb, but that's what I'm saying. You learn for these things. But I didn't know if anyone was going to show up to the expo. I had zero idea if anyone was going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
It was like this scary feeling. There's vendors. People set up for expo tomorrow. There's about like 15, 20 vendors. I don't even know. Pretty small. People are for an expo tomorrow, and I have zero clue if anyone's going to show up. So I'm scared out of my mind. Next morning, I wake up, and there's starting to be a line of like 100 to 150 people. And in that moment was like the purest, greatest feeling I've ever felt. Like
the payoff.
Yeah. It's like, wow. This is, even though in comparison to my second year expo where I had 600 people in line, 500, 600 people in line, it will never feel as good as that moment, that first time. And like, it was so excited that I did like a fist pump. I was like, yeah! It's like, it just like overwhelmed me. It just like, it was just like this feeling of just like, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And being the first expo ever, people were super receptive of it, and it was awesome. And I don't know. That's my story. Really, I don't really know. That's like the major things I've sort of done. Everything else has kind of just been kind of just cool things I've gone because of the expos and the Nick and Matt show.
Yeah, like that's how you went to the USDGC.
Yeah, USDGC. Like filming for Simon is another thing. Like super grateful I got the opportunity, and
it's because of the expo?
No, because I met Simon through the Nick and Matt show. Staggered Stance is now called, but Nick and Matt show at the time. And well, actually, also because of the expo, because we were going to game days at Steve Dodge playing Birdie Pro like once a month, and then I told him about the expo at it, and then post expo first year, he recorded a podcast at Matt's in German, and I wasn't there, so I had to produce it. And after, he was like, "Hey, do you want to go record? And we can talk about your expo." So it was like hand in hand. I started to get to know Simon through the Nick and Matt show.
Mm-hmm.
And then through us kind of being on a more friendlier level, he was able to, be like, "Hey, like, you did a cool thing. Do you want to and I also mentioned like, "Yo, I'd record for you." Same thing, same spiel. I said, "I'd record for you free 100% whenever you want." So then he had the opportunity after the podcast. I was like, "Yo," he's like, "Let's go record." Shouted out the expo on that. And through that, that's kind of where I started to start filming for him. Obviously, I'm not like full time. It's just like whenever he needs camera help. But that's another, just a really cool thing that just came through kind of the show. It's just like, I'm very grateful for that, just being able to film for him and kind of be a part of that community and see the comments and of people just like hyping me up and stuff. It's just a really, really cool feeling. So that's been awesome too. But yeah, other than that, I think that's kind of everything on my resume as of right now. But that's the kind of the full story of how I got to where I'm at right now. Just that weird snowball effect of luck and opportunity and blessings and stuff like that I'm very grateful for. And eventually, I'm gonna keep going and try my hardest. Like, I want to be the best person, like disc golf skill wise, as I can be. Like, I'm still super focused and motivated on that. I still practice a lot. Still think about throwing as a lot, and I need to practice about more. I will, but I still also want to be a good pro. So I have so many, like local pro. I'm saying, I want to be able to, like, cash.
Yeah, And I still, like I enjoy getting better at disc golf and stuff
Yeah,
like that. It's not for any reason other than being able to like,
measurable
I
progress.
yeah, it's fun to get better at something. A and B, um, I don't know. It's like if you are like, it's fun to go play new courses, and it's like you don't have fun playing bad at them. You just like want to be good enough to play them well. So it just like makes the experience more enjoyable. So I guess that's really it for me. Also, I completely forgot. I have an insane disc golf news thing that I cannot share yet, but is I don't even know how to even remember it. But Ben, I'll tell you after the podcast, and hopefully I can tell everyone else here um, later on.
Bet.
That's all I can say.
Cool.
Now
Sick.
I'm the
A little
secretive one.
teaser. I know. No, I know. And that, unfortunately, that's just what we have to do. And now you know why I'm secretive sometimes. I just don't enjoy saying things until like they're set in stone.
Yeah, that's
Because
this.
yeah, exactly. Because sometimes it just doesn't happen, and then it's just like so awkward. It's like,
You just look like a
oh, did you
doofus.
say
Yeah.
you're gonna do that, loser? Did you? This was gonna happen? I was like, yeah, I was supposed to, but like life happens. People, like,
Yeah.
it falls through.
Ben,
So
this was a great episode.
yeah, this is
I
cool.
I really enjoyed. I think exactly like you said, looking back on things and appreciating how far you've come. I'm terrible at it. I do
We all are,
recall.
dude.
I do recall the first episode that we did. I think we all kind of quote unquote went around the room and we talked about like, oh, this is what we do.
What we do, yeah.
And Ben, you listed off like all the stuff that you do that we just talked about. Josh did all of his stuff, and then I was like, I make videos and I put them on Instagram. And I was like, and I just
Which is
enjoy having an outlet, and that
super
was
cool
it.
still.
And that was so. I don't know. It's just cool to just see how far
Yeah, no,
that one thing has taken us and
that's what I'm
all of us
saying.
collectively.
You're still that guy though. You're still that, posting on Instagram guy. You now just have a cool opportunity along with that, and that's what I'm saying. Everything that I uh have right now is just based off that cool opportunity with the Nick and Mash show. Now, given, would I have probably started at Expo regardless? Yes, but who knows if it would have been as nearly as successful if I didn't have those connections and
Mhm.
that fan base already through the show. So yeah, it's just got to keep going, and I hope this thing taught any of you listeners to just, I don't know, like, we're out here living our dreams, and obviously it's not anything crazy. We're not trillionaires living in Malibu with
Yeah,
Bugattis and stuff like
I have
that.
no free time right now. Dinner,
Yeah,
doing some chores, and like watching something briefly at the end of the night. Otherwise, like after this, I have to continue
yeah,
editing like at another round video.
exactly. So just go after it. That's all I gotta say. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. And just believe in yourself, because people are jealous sometimes, and the reason they say that is they just project their insecurity. So if you feel that way, just keep on going, and eventually it does get better and way easier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah, stay true to the things that you like and who you are. Because I did notice at USDGC and going to Worlds, there are when you start getting towards some of those people that you recognize as like being the top of disc golf, there are some egos. Don't get me wrong. It's not all like we all get along and it's all super cool. Unfortunately, there are a couple people that you're like, what, like, guy, yeah, like let's take it back a
guy,
notch.
let's crank that
Anyways,
to a two. Yeah. So
great episode,
cool
Josh.
episode.
If you hear this, hopefully you're enjoying your time away down in Charlotte. Um, yeah, let's close it out.
This has been Funsie. Thanks, y'all, again.
Yes.
Super cool. I'm gonna keep doing this, hopefully forever. I mean, this is just a passion project, and I hope same goes for Sajko, and I hope same goes for Jay Millie. We're just here for you. And shout out. Actually, I do have to give it. I remember we shout out people that say nice things. So I do have to give a shout out real quick before we get off to Jonathan Sanchez. Sent me a really nice message how much he loves Funsie and kind of the content creation, how he relates to me through the content creation, and how we inspire him to go out there and just create. So super cool. Shout out to you, Jonathan. I really appreciate it. And yeah, this is just the passion project for us, and I hope you stick with us because we just love doing this, and I'm grateful all you are. And I know I ramble.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry for that, but it's just who I am.
All's good. All right. Until next week. Hopefully we have a full crew then.
Funsie.
Cool. Peace.